Mercedes is getting ready for the Suzuka race and they have lots of problems to deal with. It looks like the bad news just keeps coming after what Wolff said recently. After their two cars crashed out and didn't finish in Melbourne, only a few. People think Mercedes can make things better. But James Allison found something new that might help make their W5 car better later on. The big question is, how will this help their two drivers? Mercedes really hoped that their new 2024 car design would help them fight with Red Bull and Ferrari at the front, but what actually happened was that it put them in the middle of the pack. Right now, they're fighting with Aston Martin to be fourth place in the championship for car makers. Their terrible start to the season probably won't get better at Suzuka. This track has everything their W5 car hates the most: really fast corners. Most of these corners mess with how their car drives on the track. Mercedes keeps saying that. What they see in their wind tunnel testing doesn't match what happens when they actually drive the car on the real track. This means both Hamilton and Russell will probably struggle a lot, after not understanding how their car's airflow works for a couple of seasons in a row. Mercedes is now having trouble figuring out their new car idea. According to Allison, who's the team's technical boss, this problem will keep happening in the next races too. When he talked about what's wrong with their W5 car's performance, James Allison said something pretty simple. He said they're still seeing problems with their wind tunnel information not matching what happens when they drive on the real track. Every year and every team has problems matching what they see in the factory with what happens on the track. There will always be problems between what you see in the factory and what you see on the track. That's because the factory is like a smaller, simpler version of real life. It's not the same as driving a real car on a real track with real asphalt, and all the tiny details and complicated stuff that comes with it. But you can't help thinking this sounds like he's making excuses. We didn't hear this from any other teams. Actually, McLaren used their wind tunnel time to bring lots of good upgrades to both their 2023 and 2024 cars. Now, they're basically the third fastest team even though they started the 2023 season really badly. Ferrari, on the other hand, is planning to bring upgrades that they tested successfully in their wind tunnel back at their home base. They want to try to catch up to Red Bull as much as they can at Suzuka. So saying that there will always be problems between the wind tunnel and how the car actually performs might not be a good enough excuse for Mercedes right now. Allison also talked about the troubles Mercedes is having when trying to make their car faster on paper, because that's where everything starts. When he talked about the main parts of this problem, Allison said something complicated. He said if you've tried everything you can with your car's set up and you still need to go faster, well then that gets harder. At that point, it means there are hidden problems in the way you design the airflow around your car or the way your suspension works. These things are making that particular problem worse. To really fix it properly, you would have to change those hidden problems. It can be either quick and messy, or it can take longer and be more complicated. What's really hard for Mercedes to accept starting from Suzuka is that they won't just struggle with the track's fast corners. The upgrades that Ferrari, Red Bull, and McLaren are bringing will make the gap between these four teams even bigger. All the other teams have already figured out how to make a stable car and are building on that. But Mercedes admitted that from now on, all they'll do is try different things with their car and hope to magically find half a second of better performance. Wolff said that basically there's nothing wrong with the car itself, but there's something wrong with how they're managing it. And that's the real reason for all their problems. When Wolff explained what the plan is for the W5 car from now on, he said something interesting. He said they're getting to a point where they probably need to try different things at every single race, not just on Friday practice, but maybe on some Saturday sessions too. The more grip they have, the faster it goes, the more they hit the car's performance limit. Their data shows that it's not really the limit though. He hasn't lost the feeling that there's a good car hiding in there. That's because there are times during the weekend, including the last two races, where they absolutely smash it with great performance. But then they lose it again. All this is forcing Lewis Hamilton to try different setups on his car. Fans are asking if he'll be the only driver who has to do these experiments. The answer is pretty simple. Yes, he's the only one struggling to. find good performance from the car. Even though Russell fighting with Alonso for 6th place in Melbourne wasn't actually the most competitive Mercedes could be, the younger British driver says he's not feeling the same problems that Hamilton is. This suggests that Mercedes has started to move away from Hamilton's preferences more and more after his shocking decision to move to Ferrari. Starting in 22.5. It's worth mentioning that it's not just Mercedes who feels the car is acting weird from one day to another at the same track. Some of the Sky F1 TV experts think the situation is so bad that the W5 car has different problems from one corner to the next corner. Now, thinking about how much downforce the car would need to handle itself properly in the first part of Suzuka track, which is full of long, fast corners, it's pretty safe to say that neither Russell nor Hamilton would feel confident enough to push the car to its absolute limit. If we look at what happened in Jeddah, we can probably guess that Mercedes will lose a lot of time in the first sector here. This would cause problems for the rest of the track too. On top of all this, Hamilton is now starting his 4th race of the season in his personal worst start to any season ever. He even said that his 2009 season felt better than this one. Even with all this, Mercedes isn't willing to give up on trying to find more performance from their car. There's one thing that's pushing them to believe that this version of their car is still worth exploring more. That's Russell's statement about the W5. The British driver said that he doesn't feel what Hamilton feels in the car. This could be understood as bad news too, since it was Russell who felt more comfortable with the problematic Mercedes cars in the past couple of seasons. But it could still mean that Mercedes hasn't lost hope when it comes to close fights in the next couple of seasons. Keep in mind that the cars the teams build this season will stay pretty much the same for next season too. Either way, this will be a huge test for Mercedes to attract a really good driver to race alongside Russell starting in 2025. When Russell talked about the current problems with the car, he said something clear. He said he's definitely not having the same ups and downs in confidence or performance on his side of the garage or in his car compared to what Lewis is going through. He's reasonably happy with how the car handles. They just don't have enough performance. Hamilton won't be the happiest driver at Suzuka or for the rest of 2024. After we saw him smile when Ferrari got their 1-2 win in Melbourne last week, we can already tell where his mind is right now. He's eagerly waiting for the 2024 season too, and so he can focus on winning his 8th championship with the Ferrari team. But this is much worse news for Mercedes than they originally thought it would be. Once Hamilton stops caring about helping develop the car, which probably already happened after the first 3 races of the 2024 season, then you lose a lot of knowledge and expertise back at the Mercedes factories in Brackley and Brixworth. With this in mind, the 2025 seat might not be the most attractive one for drivers as good as Alonso or other top drivers. So with all this in mind, what do you think the Suzuka race will bring for Mercedes? And more importantly, do you think they have what it takes to turn things around in 2024? Let us know in the comments down below.